Hi guys, it's Janae and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm finishing up volume 3 of Scum Villian Self-Saving System, and I definitely am vaguely nervous. I feel like, there's just so much that can go wrong before the end of this volume, and the knowledge that we still have one volume left to go is what's like freaking me out. So anyway, hi. Oh wow, I just looked and there was no one, and now there's 3 people. Yay. Okay, so just quickly before we get started, if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Janae. I do read-alongs of novels that I'm very curious about, and that now includes I just finally got my copy of Case File Compendium, and I'm so excited and so terrified for this book. Because I've heard, like, if I thought Urha was rough, this is apparently rougher, and I'm not sure when we're gonna get to it, but it's here, it's ready for whenever we're ready for it. Hi! Um, so suffice to say, I am a little bit nervous, but yeah, Case File has such a beautiful cover, but yeah, it's rough. Yeah, like, I'm very curious because obviously Urha is historical, and then the other one that I also have waiting for us once we're finished with Urha is Remnants of Filth, and that one's also historical, so it's going to be interesting to see how Meatbun handles modern settings, but that's for another day. Um, uh, Don't get mad at our baby dragon on other volumes. He's a bit tough okay, a bit of a tough character to love. Okay, so also just a quick heads up, I drink tea whenever my voice feels like it's about to give in, and we only have about 34 pages left. So I think we're gonna be busy for just over an hour. We're not gonna be making the full 2 hours today because, I mean, I'm not gonna keep you guys hostage here when we're finished. So yes. Yes. Sorry, I misread BAB as baby. Yeah, okay. No, so anyway, so that one is waiting for us at some point. I'm thinking of doing, going back and finishing volume 2 of Mordu after this, but I'm gonna put a poll up for it when we're done with this today. So you can just keep an eye out for that on the community tab if you want to vote on what we should do next. Because I'm a little bit torn. I'm like, should we just finish Scum Villian volume 4 immediately? Yes, no, it's like I'm definitely at least gonna give the first volume a try live reading it along, and we'll see if I can handle it. If I can handle it, we'll continue with it. I've just heard some intense things about it, like not anything specific, just that it's intense. And if that's coming from Kikta, then I feel like I trust Kikta to know where my tolerance levels are. Anyway, okay, so um. Wow, those 5 minutes went by really quickly. For anyone who wants to follow along with their own physical copy, let's see some. I've finished somewhere here. Oh, right, in the middle of a sex scene. My bad. Um, I think we finished. Okay, yeah, we were at the top of page 311. I hope I'm ready for this. I feel like I need another pillow and I don't have it. Okay. He done it out of consideration for Lord Binghur's convenience, but unexpectedly he was flipped back around. Lord Binghur jammed himself between Shen Qingqi's legs, his entire attention wrapped on Shen Qingqi's face. Only a few inches remained between them, their steaming breaths intermingling. Something blazing hot pressed against the dry entrance of Shenjingchu's lower half, its circumference a little terrifying, not unlike that of a full-sized ball. Due to the slight moisture at its tip, the tight entrance managed to take it in just a little. I'm gonna die of embarrassment. So, like, can we just RIP for me? Oh. Bobby didn't slam himself in right away. He was in a daze, but he still insisted on staring at Shinjuku's face while he pressed tiny scattered kisses to his cheek, little by little. Originally, Shinjuku's nerves had been stretched taut, but with these subconscious actions on Norbingho's part, he relaxed a bit. He'd relaxed too early. Shenjingchu finally experienced what it felt like to be split in half down the middle while still alive. Out of his mind with pain, he kicked his legs out and jerked away. Norbingho clamped down on his waist and dragged him back. Shenjingchu's back scraped over rough rocks, his flesh burning and stinging. Ow! That sounds painful. The sudden eruption of agony wiped Shenjingchu's mind clean. Like a fish suspended out of water, he began to struggle violently. But the more he struggled, the less stable Norbingho's mental state became. His eyes were crimson, his breath distorted. His mind in chaos. All he could think about was holding on to Shenjingchu and thrusting himself into the hole. Mixed feelings about this, gotta be honest. Okay, let's keep going. The thickest part had already entered. Together with the long shaft, it pressed in towards his insides. Great! Shenjingchu braced his hands against Norbingho's chest, but the iron grasp on his waist left him unable to move. His legs were pressed back against his chest, his backside raised high. Why do we need so much detail? I'm dying over here. So he was powerless to stop his insides from being forced open. He swallowed down his screams, doing his best to relax and open himself more, let Norbingho slide himself into his depths. Once everything was inside, Shinjuku felt like he'd been impaled by a rod of hot iron. Great. Nailed alive to a sacrificial stone, damn. Norbingho seemed to have finally found some small sense of security. He grasped Shenjingchu's hair, lifting and kissing it. Though he could ignore the sting of his scalp, the shift in position gave Shenjingchu the terrifying, if mistaken, impression that his insides were being jostled. His entrance spasmed uncontrollably from the pain. In his stupor, Norbingho knew no restraint. He only understood his own exhilaration and began to ruthlessly thrust in and out. I feel so bad for Shenjingchu right now. His movements were both quick and rough. After over 100 uneven thrusts that alternated between fast and slow, he finally managed to smoothly and continuously bury himself inside. Shenjingchu's eyes flooded with hot tears. It hurt. It hurt so much. He was trembling from the pain, but he didn't forget what he should do next. He sent forth his spiritual energy, drawing the surging demonic chi within Norbingho's body into himself. That's why he's doing it. Like, I should have seen that coming, but I'd completely forgotten about that whole part of everything. I'm kind of worried about Shenjingchu right now because I had faith that his previous, like the mushroom body could handle it. Maybe the mushroom body wouldn't have been able to handle it because it wasn't able to handle Tianlang Jun's form. This is interesting, okay. This technique was incredibly stupid, but it was also incredibly effective. As Norbingho was supplying Shinmore with demonic chi, by drawing a portion of it into himself, it no longer received enough power, so Ma Ridge's descent naturally couldn't continue. Shenjingchu took that object as it viciously slammed in and out. He's all twitching. This is so awkward, guys. Okay. Nothing had ever breached this place before, and the tender flesh of his walls was rubbed raw and swollen. Initially, the thrust had been slightly jerky, but with the spats of burning pain, blood, and fluids gradually provided enough lubrication to smooth out their joining. That's great. That's what we want to hear. All about blood smoothing the joining. Within the darkness, the wafting stench of blood pervaded around them, pained, suppressed gasps, and the sound of flesh slapping on flesh rang especially clear. Robinhood was enthusiastically clutching at Shenjingche and refusing to let go. His cheeks rubbed against Shenjingche's head, the action both docile and meek, but his bottom half told an entirely different story and could have been called savage. Shenjingche could barely breathe within his grip, and his right hand clawed at the rocky ground, leaving behind trails of blood. Each breath he struggled to draw, stuttered and fought as he gasped down air. He couldn't hold on. He really couldn't hold on anymore. Guys, quick question, because I have to admit, I feel kind of bad for saying this, but I have never read an MXDX sex scene before. I kind of skipped over that when I originally read TGCF and Mordazusha. So, is it always like this? This is rough. Like, this is very rough. Hold on. He really couldn't hold on anymore. Just as his head swam, his vision growing dark and darker and darker, a faint beam of light flashed by him. There was a crisp clang of something hitting the ground, right next to Shentinch's bare shoulder. Alarmed, Lodinghar looked up, and for a brief moment he seemed disorientated. Then his pupils abruptly shrank into pinpoints. The blurry scene before him gradually focused and came together, becoming clearer and clearer. He slowly lowered his head, and all the color drained from his face on the spot. Shenjingche lay below him, robes torn into countless pieces. His legs were trembling, unable to close, his eyes frightfully red, like he was on his last breath. Okay. Rubinho reached out, wanting to touch him but not daring to. His hand remained frozen in mid-air as he muttered, Shizun? Once he heard Lobinho finally call him Shizun as normal, Shenjingche seemed to come alive, and he gasped in breath. Unfortunately, due to how strained this breath was, it almost sounded like a sob. Lobinho was stunned. Shizun, what did I do? Shenjingche wanted to clear his throat, to lighten the mood a little and say something like, You didn't do much, just your Shizun. Oh, well. However, the result was that he didn't manage to clear his throat and rather coughed up a mouthful of blood. Great. Both of them froze in shock at the sight. Shenjingche's tears hadn't had the chance to come out before Lobingher's began to fall first. They plopped onto Shenjingche's cheek, sliding down the curve of it. In the past, Shenjingche's greatest fear had been women crying, and now his greatest fear was Lobingher crying. He ignored the pain in his bottom half and wiped at Lobingher's face, comforting him like he was soothing a child. Don't cry. I'm not mad about the, comforting him like he was soothing a child right after they had sex. But, okay. Tears fell like pearls cut from the string, rolling down along her shoulder. That's a beautiful description. He helplessly held Shenjingche with one arm while muttering, Shizun, don't hate me. I didn't know. I never wanted to hurt you. Why didn't you push me away? Why didn't you kill me? Shenjingche stroked his back gently again and again. This master knows. This master was willing. Oof. He soothed him, but within his heart was endless bleakness. He was the one who'd been wrecked, all right. So how come the guy who'd wrecked him was crying harder than he was? What was with the reversal where the guy who was slept with had to comfort the one who'd slept with him. A Lobingher who'd lost his virginity was even more demanding than a young maiden who'd lost hers. Why is that so funny? Then, if you'd pull out first, Shenjingche said helplessly. Lobingher's eyelashes still clung heavily with tears, but he couldn't afford to worry about her shyness or how he wasn't done crying, and he pulled out with the utmost care. He stared blankly at the horrible sight between Shenjingche's legs, his face growing increasingly pale. Even so, he carefully tidied Shenjingche's inner robe, then draped his own outer robe on top of him. Shenjingche didn't dare look down himself. He slowly closed his legs, the muscles of his face twitching as he did so. Still, he did his best to school his expression into something less pained. I feel so bad for him. It isn't meant to be enjoyable for Bingchu or readers. It was very dubcon. Both Lobingher and Shenjingche were victims. Bingher wasn't state of mind to consent while Shenjingche was coerced. Yeah, that's totally fair as well. Coerced by the system. Oh, that's interesting. That makes sense. Being a kind of critique of certain BL tropes. Okay, to divert Lobingher's gaze and attention, Shenjingche reached out and picked up the jade guanyin beside him, then gestured at Lobingher to lower his head. Lobingher stammered, I thought I had long since lost it. I thought I'd never find it again. Shenjingche helped to loop the red string around his neck. Hold on to it from now on. Don't lose it again. After Shizun rescued me that time, could it be that he'd kept it with him ever since? Lobingher mumbled. It had been in the system's storage system the entire time, so saying that couldn't be considered wrong, right? Once he thought this, Shenjingche feebly nodded once. Lobingher's arm around him slowly tightened. As his tears continued to flow, he suddenly noticed that the marks on his arm were rapidly receding. His blazing hot forehead and cheeks was also cooling at an incredible speed. Stunned, he said, What are you doing? Shenjingche hugged him firmly, forcefully locking Lobingher against the crook of his arm so he couldn't flail around. I'm not doing anything, he said lowly. Like I told you, it'll stop hurting soon. So be good and don't move. Lobingher's voice cracked. Shizun, are you going to do what you did last time and use your whole body to draw away Shinmo's demonic chi? The last time he referred to was the time when Shenjingche had self-detonated. It must have left an enormous impact on him. It's different this time, said Shenjingche. Lobingher slowly clenched his fist. Different how? He asked, voice quivering. Shizun, how can you do this to me? Do you think you would actually do the same thing a second time, for the sake of other people? Do you feel that I can watch you do the sort of thing right before me again? I should have realized long ago that none of you would ever choose me. Every single one of you would rather throw me away. Listen to me, Lobingher, Shenjingche said severely. Sure enough, Lobingher held back his tears and obediently listened. In order to give birth to you, Sushiyan fought to the death. Lobingher, why did you never consider it? Given the kind of person the old palace master was, would he have given his disciple a gentle, harmless drug? It must have been a drug that was absolutely fatal to demons. If she really had given in and obediently taken it, even if you hadn't died, how could you have peacefully grown up unharmed into who you are today? Lobingher's shoulders trembled. Shenjingche made sure to emphasize every word. If I were her, no matter how venomous that drug was, I would have drunk it down without hesitation, then escaped the water prison. Afterward, I would have drawn all its effects into my own body. No matter how agonizing the process, no matter if the price would be the complete destruction of my martial aspect. No matter if it meant a horrible death, I absolutely would not allow my child to suffer even an ounce of harm. Which kind of also tells you that that's probably exactly what happened. This is my conclusion. You can think that it's only a theory because there's no longer anyone who can tell you what Xiang was thinking before she breathed her last breath. But if she really had seen you as her shame, she wouldn't have needed to do a thing. Those were the coldest days of the year, with ice and snow everywhere. If she'd thrown you into the Law River, could you have survived? Or she could have kept her bright and boundless future as the head disciple of Panha Paz and continued to drink any fresh poison the old master gave her. Then she wouldn't have needed to flee the prison in disgrace or hide from the Huanhua disciples who searched for her. Moreover, if after giving birth to you on that lone ship, she hadn't taken off her outer robe and swaddled you in it, if she hadn't used the last of her strength to place you in the basin and push you out and away, you would never have lasted long enough for someone to rescue you. You would have become a mere lone spirit, frozen to death upon the Law River. That is intense. Um, You're alive, right here and now. So how can you just listen to and believe what others say when they claim that your mother was cold and heartless, that she didn't truly want you? Having said all this in one go, Shen Qingqiu was now short of breath, and there was a sensation of demonic qi rampaging through his limbs and bones. He used his remaining strength to clutch Luo Binghe's wrist. I'm not drawing away Shenmore's evil energy for anyone else, or anything else. I do it for you and only you, he said. I don't want to see a Luo Binghe who spends the rest of his life controlled by Shenmore, whose mind is lost to its corrosion. Sorry, for a moment I couldn't remember how to pronounce that. With illusions haunting him for all eternity. This master's expectations are for you to be alive and clear-minded, strong and healthy. Sorry, just a second. Sorry about that. My dad just came to get Juliet, and it was just very cute. Sorry. Okay. Where were we? Then he said softly, "So don't you say that no one wants you, or that no one will choose you ever again." As Luo knelt by Shen Qingqiu's side, his eyes could finally bear the weight of his tears no longer, and they rolled down his face, like he was a child who'd been wronged. He had only ever been a child, walking the world alone, tripping and stumbling countless times, wanting only those few things, yet never able to grasp them. If only Shen Qingqiu had realized this earlier, he thought. He'd definitely. But like he'd said before, within this world there had never been any such thing as "if only I had known." Luo suddenly broke out into a tearful smile. He grabbed Chen's hand with his own and held it to his cheek. Then, with his other hand, picked Shenmue up from the ground. The blade, still circulating with purple light, let out a terrifying shriek. Next to Shen Qingqiu there came the sound of something tearing, inch by inch. "Shizun, I know why you said all these things." Luo stared unswervingly at Shen Qingqiu, the corner of his mouth tugging up. "Guys, why am I scared that Luo is going to do something stupid?" However, if Shizun is no longer here, if the only person in this world who holds these expectations of me no longer exists, than me being alive and clear-minded, healthy and strong. What meaning would any of that have? Lobingha's fever seemed to have infected him too. Changing Chu was feeling a little dizzy. In his daze, he almost couldn't hear what Lobingha was saying, and he was unable to stop Lobingha as he destroyed the sword. Dimly, he had the thought that this was fine. Dying together also included together. It didn't seem that bad. But then came a voice that he could still hear clearly. Congratulations! By hitting target values of all categories, the honored customer has upgraded to a beginner level VIP account. Would you like to activate the high level ability self-saving? Wait, what? AKA, you get to kind of, not restart, but like, live on? Okay. Why am I so excited as if we're on the end of, like, at the end of the novel instead of just the end of the volume? Well, we're not even there yet, but okay. Proud Immortal Demon Way was a male power fantasy novel of power fantasy of a stallion novel. Damn, I messed it up. Since the very beginning, the author, Great Master Airplane Shooting Towards the Sky, had been very certain when it came to this matter. Furthermore, Shen Qingqi was an unabashedly straight man, whose straightness the heavens themselves could attest to. Since his birth, he had also been very certain when it came to this matter. So if, back when he just opened this baffling book, The Proud Immortal Demon Way, which was so full of landmines that it was practically high art, to the point that those landmines had become its very style, if, back then, someone had said to Shen Yun, "Oh, you'll go gay, plus you'll be going gay with the novel's male lead, and on top of that, you'll even lie down and surrender yourself to him." He would definitely have grabbed the brick that was the entire 50 volume, set, and shown them what their brains looked like when splattered across the ground. Great. Now he drifted within the virtual space he'd passed through back when he first entered this world, and he was listening to the system's friendly Google Translate-like voice, the same as it had always been, echo in every corner. Greetings. Through your tireless efforts and active cooperation, all point values have met their upgraded targets. The system is very pleased to inform you that this honored customer has already been upgraded to a beginner level VIP account. At this time, we will especially remind you that VIP accounts may activate the high level ability self-saving. In the event that your HP falls below the lowest possible value, you have a one-time opportunity to restore your life bar to full. Restore his life bar to full? This VIP treatment is really kind, huh? About that, said Shen Jingqi, this self-saving ability can only be used once, and only on myself. Your understanding is correct. An incredibly serious problem instantly occurred to Shen Jingqi. He had already drawn the majority of Lobingha's demonic qi into himself, so even if Shenmue was destroyed, it wouldn't affect Lobingha. However, because they both thought he was probably done for, that child had sobbed about wanting to die with him as well. If Shen Jingqi used the self-saving ability, Lobingha had better not go and foolishly kill himself to be with him. That is a problem. We do not want Romeo and Juliet 2.0, please. What about Lobingha? Shen Jingqi asked urgently. How is he now? With your present access, you are not permitted to inquire about issues related to the central power source. Would you like to see your achievement history? Why couldn't he inquire if he was already a VIP member? Shen Jingqi was out of his mind with worry. But if he couldn't, he couldn't. And if the system wouldn't let him, it wouldn't let him. No matter how anxious he was, it was useless. The system persisted relentlessly. Would you like to see your achievement history? So he basically had no choice but to look at this thing. Changing chair waved his hand. I'll look. Hurry up and show me. Accompanied by a burst of joyful, bubbly background music, the system unrolled a list of achievements. Avoided more than 20 landmines. The laden with landmines tag was removed. Unlocked the achievement, rather a lot of things to roast. Highest B point balance exceeded 5,000. Unlocked the achievement, readable if nothing else is available. Encountered more than 3 explosions of third-rate melodrama. Unlocked the achievement of mired in melodrama. Cut away extra padding and irrelevant side plots. The Peerless God of Fillers tag was removed. Peerless God of Fillers, oh my goodness. Patched in all hidden characters and filled in basic plot holes. The holes everywhere tag was removed. My goodness, this thing had a lot of tags. Total satisfaction points surpassed countable limits. Unlocked the achievement good enough. Do I really have to say that? Good enough for a jerk-off. Great. You have achieved the system's recommended standards. A one-line summary, the story of a love-sick, love-deficient. Oh, goodness. I remember someone told me how to pronounce this, but I cannot remember how to do it now. Xiang, who tried to destroy the world. When Shenjin read this line, he could only stare in silence. What kind of rebuttal could he even make to that? Goodbye? Thinking about it more closely, ever since he'd entered this book, Proud Immortal Demon Way really had been transfigured from its male fantasy stallion novel with no bottom line into a convoluted, hyper-melodramatic love story full of ups and downs, starring a pure-hearted nut job of a male virgin. Well, he's not a male virgin anymore. Looking at this column of sparkling awards, Shen Qingche suddenly realized that in the top left corner of the list was a small pink symbol. I love he completely changed the demographic for Proud Immortal Demon Way. That's hilarious. So it's the symbol for women, that one. I don't know how to explain it. He knew that the male symbol meant men when the female symbol meant women. I don't know how to read that, sorry. And he thought this a bit strange. What does this symbol refer to? It indicates that all the achievements on this list are women-orientated honors. You've got to be kidding. Proud Immortal Demon Way's genre has already been revised. Wait, why had it been categorized as women's fiction? So that was why this bizarre melodramatic storyline had still managed to acquire so many awards, because it had already been categorized as a woman-orientated, and so it had been scored according to the standards of women's fiction. Damn. Yeah, I guess that's what you would call it. And why did a women's fiction have an achievement good enough for? Oh my word, that is a good question. Let's not think about that, please. What were they jerking off to? Why are you making me read this? Could it be that the story had been moved from Zhongdian literature's main site to the women's section? Or even more terrifyingly, after changing sites entirely, had it been tossed into the infamous green sea of Jinjiang? Isn't that the actual site that this was published on? At this moment, upon realizing the truth, a giant mouthful of blood, which Shenqingqi had been keeping down since his first days of transmigration, which he'd managed to suppress for many years, finally sprayed out like a fountain. Oh, Lord. With this, a crowd of dark faces zeroed in around him, robes rustling. Ning Ning Ning, Ming Fan, Chi Ching Chi, Mu Ching Fan, an entire gaggle of people squeezed right up to him, all talking at once and saying things like, "Oh no, Shizun's coughing up blood. Will Shizun die? And no, once he's coughing up blood, he'll be fine." Full damp walls surrounded them. Via the small... Wait, hold on. So he did restart his life? Are we back in, like, the actual setting, or is this still, like, him thinking about it? Cold damp walls surrounded them. Via the two small candles, Shenjingchi just managed to recognize the location as the Lingxi caves. When the bouncing echoes made his head spasm with pain. Wait, what? No matter how many times I read that doesn't quite make sense. He couldn't hear anything clearly and hunched over, touching his head. Then came Liu Qingge's voice. "Go away, all of you." As soon as he spoke, everyone else immediately shut up. The junior generation stuck out their tongues and retreated unhappily. The space they left behind was taken up by Liu Qingge. He stood next to the stone bed, arms crossed. Having finally seen someone reliable, Shen Qingqi grabbed him. "Where's Luo Binghe?" I just read it ahead of time, damn it. Liu Qingge's face was dark. "He's dead." Dead? Had he really gone and foolishly committed a lover's suicide? Liu Qingge didn't seem to be telling a joke, neither had he ever really joked around. Cheng Qingqi abruptly sat up, but his movements were simply too fast, and a dull pain suddenly radiated from his bottom half. His face twisted immediately. Then, with a thud, he fell back down. This reaction of his was way too over the top. Liu Qingge seemed to have received a massive shock, and he stumbled back 3 steps. Then he turned about awkwardly, as if he wanted to walk back up and say something, but also like he wanted to just up and flee. Chi Ching grabbed him. "Look at what you've done," she shrieked. "Look, what did you do that for? We told you not to scare him, and now you've gone and scared him so much he fainted." While lying on the stone bed, Shen Qingqi raised his hand. "I didn't faint. It was just that a certain place hurt, so he'd slip." In the past, Lil had scared Ning 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 more than the Baijiang Peak Lord, but this time she bravely snapped at Liu Qingge, stomping her feet. "Yoshishu, how could you do that? Even if you don't like our law, you know Shizun has just woken up and can't take too much excitement, and you still said something so irresponsible, cursing him by claiming he's dead. Just frickin' give us a scare, why don't you?" Qing Fan's face was also full of reproach. "Yoshishong, you really shouldn't act like that towards a patient. It's not good at all." This was Liu Qingge's first mass scolding. He'd never been good with words, so he simply retreated to the table and burst out with an "I'm not talking anymore." Oh goodness, I still love him. Shen Qingqi pressed one hand to his temple and the other to his waist. "Someone tell me already, is he dead or not?" "He's not," Chi Qingqi said. "This brat thought you were done for and almost tried to follow you, but right before Moshali said you were fine and still breathing. How could he bear to die then? Thank goodness they hadn't passed each other by in another twist of fate. No one could take another one of those unfortunate coincidences." Yeah, no, freaking thank goodness. Now the next question is Jianglin Shishong, did he survive? Chen Qingque knew that Liu Qingge had just been venting his anger, but he really had been scared stiff for a few seconds. Peak Lord Liu, could you not? He criticized him, feeling like he'd lost some face. I asked you first because I trusted you. You really disappointed me. Liu Qingge glared at him. Chen Qingque wasn't afraid of him glaring. He slowly sat back up and picked a position that wouldn't put too much painful pressure on the key body parts in question. What happened exactly? How did I return to Qing Jingpeak? What happened to my Go Ridge? Where's Liu Binhe? No, don't worry about my Go Ridge, said Qi Jingqi. It exploded some time ago. Exploded? Shen Jingqi echoed. Didn't you and Liu Binhe destroy Shenmue within my Go Ridge? Qi Jingqi asked. When the sword broke, the entire mountain exploded. Ming Fan popped his head in at his bedside. That's right, Shizun. Half the mountain smashed into the ice and left a huge hole. But I don't think that was necessarily their plan. Afterward, the Law River thawed. Yu and Liu Binghe both fell into it. It was Liu Shishu, who fished the two of you out. Chen Jingqi was in the process of taking the tea Ning Ying had offered him and getting ready to drink it. Good thing he hadn't, because otherwise he'd definitely have spewed it everywhere. The two of us? Chen Jingqi guiltily glanced at Liu Qingge out of the corner of his eye. If he hadn't remembered wrong, and how could you misremember something like that? He and Liu Binghe had just finished doing that thing. Though Liu Binghe had put his robes on Shen Jingqi after, the proof of guilt would have remained on his body, and with Liu Qingge's razor-sharp vision, it'd have been stranger if he hadn't seen anything wrong. That is quite embarrassing, I'm sorry to say. No wonder Liu Qingge had been looking at him with such a severe expression the entire time, like he was raring for some disciplinary action. Shen Qingqie had offended public decency and brought shame to their sect. He fished up the two of you in one go, Qi Qingqi prattled on. You were clutching each other like stiff corpses and impossible to separate. So many people were watching. Aren't you ashamed? Our respected Tong Mount. I mean, it's not their fault that's how they were discovered, okay? So they'd been in plain view of everyone. That was really... Chen Jingqi was filled with 10,000 regrets. Even after all his efforts, he still hadn't been able to stop the regrets of Chun Shan from acquiring new material. There is. But to think that Liu Binghe, with his thought process, hadn't simply gone and absconded with him, he'd even docilely sent him back to Qing Peak. This was really profoundly strange. Thinking this too unusual, Shen Qingqi persisted in his questions. Then where exactly is Liu Binghe now? In the end, it was still Ning Ying who was the most obedient and filial. Shizun, he slept for so many days without waking up. Of course he went to look for spirit herbs for you. Okay, so long as he doesn't do anything stupid. Look for what? Spirit herbs? By some great stroke of luck, Shen Qingqi had escaped certain death and come back with a full life bar, and that brat hadn't knelt by his bed waiting for him to wake, but left to run about. This is the sort of trivial matter that should be foisted off on your lackeys. Oh my word. Ling Yingyi then muttered quietly, wasn't it because all the Shushu and Shibo chased him off the mountain? Mm-hmm. Shen Qingqi didn't even bother pretending to be cold and aloof. Unable to keep his face still, he let out a stifled laugh. Liu Binghe had offended far too many Tangchung Mountain sect members, so it made sense they had run him off. But now Luo Binghe actually understood to swallow his anger and words and let himself be chased away. It was honestly pretty pitiful. However, as long as nothing was wrong, that was good. Like hell nothing was wrong. Chen Jingchu's face paled with horror. Zhangmen Xishong. How could he have forgotten? There was still the matter of Yue Qingyan, who'd been at death's door. He rushed to flip himself back upright, then stuffed his feet in his shoes and ran outside. The others hadn't expected him to suddenly jump out of bed. They were all stunned for a moment, but then they ran after him. Mu Qingfan called, Shen Shishong, you should really lie back down. In a single breath, he'd run out of the Liqin caves, the crisp, damp fragrance from the mountains fusing his nose. Suddenly, a glittering bloom of a golden firework exploded at the far ends of the pitch-black night sky. When he listened carefully, he heard the clamor of voices drifting over from Chongding Peak. What's going on? Chen Jingche asked as he put his shoes on properly. Why is there so much noise coming from Chongding Peak? Yeesh, I'm struggling with the pronunciation right now. Sorry, guys. Where's Zhanglen Qishong? Qi Jingqi straightened her crooked bodice and said peevishly, So you did remember to ask after Zhangmen Qishong a little. He's alive. Yay! Mu Qingfan smiled. Shen Qishong, you woke up at the first... What the hell was I about to say? Perfect time. You won't miss the celebration. Upon hearing that Yue Qingyan was safe and sound, Shen Jingche breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like Yue Qingyan, drawing his sword in the fight on Maigul Ridge, hadn't consumed his entire life force. If it had, Shen Jingche really wouldn't have known how to live with himself, and he couldn't say if anyone else knew Shen Su's secret. His musings then took a turn, and being incredibly big-headed, he thought, what celebration? Could it be to celebrate him waking up? I don't think so. There was no need to go to such efforts and make it this grand. Now he was embarrassed. Liu Qingge seemed to have guessed Shen Jingzhe's thoughts, and he verbally slapped his face without hesitation. It's to celebrate the successful prevention of the merge. Nothing to do with you. Can't you just celebrate a bit for me on this side? Shen Jingzhe asked sheepishly. Since it was the kind of grand celebration held for a major event, where the entire world joined in on the jubilation, naturally the participants included more than the members of Changchung Mountain sect. All the sects that had participated in the battle at Lower River, both large and small, had been invited. Chongding Peak was a hubbub of voices, packed tightly with people as they jostled one another. Shen Jingche even saw quite a few familiar faces. Those beautiful Taoist nun triplets were pestering a person with sweet and gentle words. In fact, it was a person who wore a veil, looked cool and elegant, and radiated an atmosphere of integrity, Liu Mingyan. When Shen Jingche observed Luo Binghe's harem together now, not a one of them to be bested in beauty, he was filled with an intensely curious feeling. He looked on intently the way he always had, though he could no longer hold on to the male fantasy mentality while doing so. He sent 2 more side glances at them, and only heard those 3 sisters say coquettishly, Good sister, good master, good senior, please give us your autograph. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious, that's so cool. We went through so much difficulty to meet the author. Please leave us a memento. No, she did not author Regrets of whatever the fan fiction of Luo Binghe and Chen Jingche's. Please tell me she did not author that. Is it truly to be discontinued with no further reprints? Within their grasp, they held a small, gaudy book, which they pushed into Liu Mingyan's hands. It looked incredibly familiar. Shen Jingche puzzled over it to himself. and felt it merited his attention. He was just thinking about walking closer to see what the three giant words on the cover were, when suddenly a skulking silhouette flashed behind him. Shanting took a couple of steps to catch up to that person and grab them. "You still have the guts to come to Chongding Peak?" he asked in a chilly voice. "You're not afraid of Chi cutting you into pieces?" Having been caught, Shang Qinghua almost fell to his knees on the spot, but when he heard Shen Qingche, he breathed a long sigh of relief. "I don't think you should necessarily do that." "Why be like this, cucumber bro?" he asked as he turned around. "No matter what, the two of us are comrades from the same hometown, friends forged in the heat of battle. Don't be so quick to chase me out. Since you dared come to Tangchong Mountain, I assume you've already succeeded at whitewashing your reputation?" "Correct," said Shang Qinghua. "I was afraid I'd scare you if I said so. I might soon return to being the Anding Peak Lord, and it's all thanks to Bingo. May he live long and prosper." Oh my goodness. That moment, okay. Yu Qingyan is taking you back? This is called the prodigal son's return. The wayward hire mending his ways. Besides, I've never done anything to offend the heavens, so why won't he take me back? I mean, you wrote the Proud Immortal Demon Way, so are you sure you haven't offended the heavens? Chen Qingche let go of him and said angrily, "Zhangmen Xishong is simply too kind." Shang Qinghua straightened his collar. Why else would he be so unfortunate? Kind people get taken advantage of. Shen Qingche looked him up and down. "Due to all my blind fumbling around, your entire novel has been distorted beyond recognition, but you don't seem unsatisfied at all." "I wouldn't say that," said Shang Qinghua. "Maybe to you it was only blind fumbling that was as worthless as poo, but to Bingo, your blind fumbling might be the only meaning to the world's existence. To think a great master airplane shooting towards the sky could say such words." Shen Qingche was horrified. "And who is this distinguished gentleman?" "Don't be like that," Shang Qinghua said seriously. "I too am a young man with literary ideals, so of course I'd have my own thoughts and regrets." Shen Qingche sneered. "What literary ideals? How come the only thing could see in your book was fan service with no bottom line, and your writing speed of 10,000 words a day with intermittent bursts of 20,000? That was your appeal. Without those unyielding components, Proud Immortal Demon Way could never have made it past early serialization." Shang Qinghua shrugged. "Do you think I started out writing things with no moral integrity or bottom line? In the past, I wrote works of pure literature." "We'll believe you for now, okay?" But every single one flopped, so I could only start down the road of mass market products. You must know that writing a novel is a lonely thing. Compared to writing the kind of stallion guy who's everywhere on Zhongdian, it's better to portray a male lead like the current Bingo, whose life is full of mishaps. His personality is a bit more complex and full of contradictions and conflicts. That kind of weirdo. It's more in line with my writing philosophy." "So, your writing philosophy is about writing gays?" Shen Jingqie concluded. "Are you looking down on gay protagonists? The arts and artists love portraying gays. Pure literature highly favors gays. You know that, right?" Shang Hua raised his arms high. "Cucumber bro," he said impassioned. "If the system hadn't selected you, a loyal and die-hard reader, I'm afraid the plot would never have been distorted to this extent. Right back to the outline I discarded. I wasn't able to withstand the happiness in real life and caved to financial pressure. So I chose to finish Proud Immortal Demon Way in accordance with others' tastes. However, thanks to you, everything that I wanted to write had already played out before me. Oh. I feel like that's the biggest twist. Like, I didn't think that was his original vision. He clapped Shinjinchu's shoulder solemnly, filled with deep emotion. You are the chosen one, and my career is at last wiped clear of regrets. Why did that make it sound like the system and this world were the creation of Shang Qinghua's regrets? As an author who'd had to scrap his outline in favor of popular opinion, Shen Jingque found the idea of becoming this kind of chosen one too shameful. Who's your diehard reader? Shang Qinghua waved. I won't talk to you about this, he said, unilaterally, let me not forget how to words, declaring his victory. You're an anti-fan. Shen Jingque was just about to say, I'm only an anti-fan, not a fan, but then he suddenly heard Shang Qinghua humming. Something like, love warms, grace ways, our lips come together. I wish this night would last unto the morn, all day, all night, unto eternity. The important part was that the tune was incredibly familiar, so familiar that Shen Jingque's hands and teeth ached. He pointed at Shang Jinhua. Shang Jinhua, what are you humming? Shang Jinhua continued to hum. We know not when one day becomes the next, nor when Zheng Yang's sun will finally rest. The rustle of autumn, Shuya unsheathed, icy water gushes forth, choking sobs, we plea unfulfilled, and we start again. Shen Qingque was in disbelief. I dare you to sing another line. Master Shin, why don't you listen to others? You absolutely must not mess with other people. Bing He will lose it. Let me tell you right now, the regrets of Chun Shan has become something like the 18th touches. Okay? The two of you are legendary gays known nationwide. Get it? You can go ahead and shut me up. I don't care, because ultimately, it'll be useless. You can't shut the mouths of everyone beneath the heavens. Okay, so just quickly, the 18 Touches is a traditional Chinese folk song with several variations, famous for its risque nature, leading it to have been banned multiple times. Oh my goodness, okay, that's interesting. At last, Shen Jingque beat the crap out of Shang Qinghua the way he'd always wanted to. This asshole, this giant asshole, this kind of pothole-digging author who not only refused to fill his holes but left everything unfinished, who rejoiced at his characters jumped the shark all the way to Siberia. I don't know what that reference is. Who even dragged his reader in to patch up his work, saying, "You can you up, okay?" Really deserved to be beaten to death. He was just about ready to drag the whimpering airplane shooting towards the sky, currently prone like a corpse, into a small patch of pitch-black forest so he could continue with said beating when he heard a familiar voice chanting behind him. Master Wu Chen said, Peak Lord Shen is safe and sound, truly 1,000 fortunes. Shen Jingque straightened and turned around to see the two abbots from Zhaohua Monastery together with Yu Qingyan, walking slowly in his direction. I'm so happy. We can kill him, Xinyan. I believe in you. Oh no, that's hilarious. um, so I see it's 10 p.m. on the dot here. So would you guys like to take the 10-minute break, or are you okay to push through until we finish? We have 10 pages left. Um, he tossed Shang Qinghua aside and tidied himself up a bit, then smiled sincerely from his heart. Zhangmen Qishong, Master Wu Chen, Master Wu Wang. There was no trace of weakness in Yue Qingyan's complexion as he smiled back. Wu Wang sent Shen Jingqi a side glance, then walked off somewhere else, full of disdain. He had the expression of an old Taoist full of toxic feudal-era ideals who had just seen a fallen woman. Shen Jingqi felt like he'd been struck by lightning and shivered. Uh, I'm fine with going on. Let's go on. Okay, cool. I think I'm doing okay. I'll see, but I think I should be fine for 10 more pages. Please don't mind Wu Wang Shishong, Piglo Chen, said Master Wu Chen. Ever since this one lost his leg at Jinlang City, he's been filled with hatred towards the demon race, to the point even Piglo Chen, Shen Jingqi rubbed his nose and said indifferently, "It's fine." Being disdained by a bald old donkey didn't matter much. Don't put blasphemy on donkeys. We love Little Apple in this house. Oh, damn. Sorry, I just spilled some tea on my phone. Although Master although Master Wu Chun said, "He's gotten much better now. In the period Tianlanjun has been staying in Zhaohua Monastery, he's never given him a hard time." "Your honored monastery took Tianlanjun into custody?" asked Shin Qingqie. "Not really custody," said Master Wu Chun. "This one only wishes to freely discuss Buddhism with him while also helping to relieve the decay of the blue mushroom body. He'll stay for a couple of years until he's stabilized, then he can go wherever. At that time, whether he wishes to continue wandering the human realm or prefers to take Zhuge Lang's bones and return to the demon race will all be up to him." So Zhuge Lang passed, I'm assuming? Oh damn, okay. This one believes that there is no anger within him, even if there had been once. It has since dispersed. Master Wu Chun's legs had been destroyed by the Suras in Jinnan City, and the Suras had been sent by Tianlanjun. But he hadn't taken this incident to heart at all. Shen Jinji's heart couldn't help but well with admiration. On top of that, the master's compassion was neither haphazard nor carelessly bestowed. At their final goodbye, Shen Jingqi had also felt that Tianlangjun no longer had any interest in destroying the world. From the start, it wasn't what he'd really wanted to do, or something he'd liked doing. It was just now that there was no Zhujilang to foolishly follow him around and foot his bills, beating away miscellaneous soldiers or collecting interesting pocketbooks for him. It was probably inevitable that, at times, he'd feel sad. Let him never lay his hands on another copy of The Regrets of Chunshan. I can't remember the name properly. Just like the Shenqingqi at present, Zhaohua Monastery's monks left first and walked towards Chongding Hall. But even though he was the sect leader, Liu Qingyan didn't go with them. Instead, he stood in place, silently staring at Shen Jingqi. For some reason, it became comparatively more awkward. As if testing the waters, Ye Qingyan said, Xiao Jue, Qishong, said Shen Jingqie, it's Qingqie. Even though it would be too difficult to tell Ye Qingyan the truth, Shen Jingqie still hoped he could demonstrate the difference in some way. Ye Qingyan was stunned for a bit, then gave a small smile. It's Qingqie Shidi. Shen Jingqie looked at Chen Su at his waist. He had yet to speak when Ye Qingyan spontaneously said himself, Shidi need not worry. After a few more months of secluded cultivation, all should be well for a time. Sorry. Then Rangmen Shishong must not impulsively draw his sword in the future, said Shen Jingqie. Once cultivation can be improved, more breakthroughs can always be achieved, but one's life force can never be returned. Ye Qingyan gently shook his head. One's life force is not the only thing that cannot be returned. The two of them walked slowly towards Chongding Hall. Along the way, they heard the joyful laughter of the young disciples and the burst of fireworks overhead. What are your plans for the future? Asked Ye Qingyan. I have no plans for the time being, said Shen Jingqie. First, I'll wait for Luobinghe to return and see how he's doing. Ye Qingyan smiled. You truly adore that disciple. Shen Jingqie was searching for a way to answer when Ye Qingyan said, Shidi, Tangchong Mountain will forever be a place to which you can return whenever you tire of wandering the outside world. These words were said with utmost sincerity and solemnity. Ye Qingyan had always been this way. Whatever he promised, he would definitely deliver, and what he couldn't deliver, he would endeavor to make up for, no matter the cost. After assuming the role of this novel character, Shen Jingqie had always refused to become the Scum Villian from the original work. He'd drawn a clearer boundary between them and taken great pride in walking the opposite path. So never before had he felt such a powerful and impulsive thought. If only he really were Shen Jie. If only that person could really hear these words. Shen Jingqie's steps became slower and slower. Then suddenly, like he'd sensed something, he raised his head and looked into the distance. On the other side of the crowd, right before it, was Luobinghe. He stood at the foot of the white stone steps leading to Tangchong Peak's main hall. He stood utterly alone, without a single person beside him. When the people walking past saw his face, their own faces filled with all sorts of expressions. Shen Jingqie involuntarily ran forward a couple of steps, then turned his head to look at the person behind him. Go on, said Ye Qingyan. He stood behind Shen Jingqie, silent and with good grace. Why does it feel like the novel as a whole is about to end? It was as if one was the past and the other the future. 1 year, the demon race had not known what was good for itself, and so had come to Tangchong Peak to provoke them with a show of strength. They'd spent a good chunk of time smashing, hitting, burning, and plundering, and had even smashed a bunch of floor tiles with a hammer. Luobinghe was staring at a crack between the white tiles on the ground when he heard the familiar snap of a fan opening. A pair of white shoes stepped onto that stone crack, which was already spotted with green moss. He abruptly raised his head. Okay, hold on. I need to cough. Shen Qingqie waved his fan. Don't say a word. First, let this master ask you. As a disciple, why did you not respectfully wait for your Shizun to wake up, but instead go to run about the outside world? Robinhood forced down his excited expression, suppressing himself. No one on Tangchong Mountain welcomes my presence, so I could only secretly come to check in from time to time. Just now I didn't see Shizun in the Lingxi caves, and I thought that they'd hidden Shizun away, or that Shizun had left again. Sorry, guys. As Shen Qingque listened to this meek defense, he couldn't help but remember what Chang Qinghua had just said. If he hadn't gone around pestering and harassing everyone and everything, perhaps Lobinho really would have darkened to the core and become the young man in the original work, someone who'd rend a person into a human stick with his bare hands, who cursed the world and himself. Although now instead he'd become a lovesick young man, so it wasn't really that much better. I beg to differ. I would not equate the two at all. But at least he'd gained some lovable qualities. Or at least Shen Qingque had finally realized that he was quite fond of them. Okay, yes. Shen Qingque sighed. You knew you weren't welcome, and you still dutifully sent me back to Tangchong Mountain. I thought that when Shizun woke up, he would definitely prefer seeing Tangchong Mountain first. Without caring about his image, Shen Qingque broke character and smacked Lobinho's forehead with his fan. Resentful of Lobinho's actions, he said, "Of course, what this master most wants to see first was you." Lobinho had taken a thwack from the fan, but he was so excited that his entire face flushed red, his eyes becoming watery, like he wanted to speak but couldn't. Shen Qingque's entire body felt like it was going weak from his gaze. Then suddenly sounds of yelling and the clang of blades rose around them. Wait, what? Yang Yixun stood on the eaves of Tangchong Peak's main hall and shouted, "Sure enough, that demon ruffian came back to harass Shen Shibo." Hundreds of people responded to his call, and someone immediately shouted along with him, "That bastard still has the gall to show his face. Get your weapons. Where's my weapon?" "That's my sword." "Shishong, give it back. If you want to fight, go back and get yours." No wonder Lobinghe hadn't hung around and waited for him to wake up. Merely showing his face on Tangchong Mountain had people screaming their intent to attack him. The warmth of his welcome was eminently clear. "Ah, not bad. Your judgment was correct," Shen Qingque said helplessly. "Under these circumstances, sneaking in is indeed your only option." "I already said before that I wasn't welcome here," Lobinghe said in a quiet voice. Shen Qingque patted his head. "That's fine. Shizun welcomes you." Chongding Peak clamored with roars for violence, some genuine, some insincere, raring to have a go. Just a bunch of people who craved nothing but havoc. In even greater numbers were the peaceful passerbys, all turning a blind eye to the devil in human form that was Lobinghe. Shen Qingque didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There's a little nod at Heaven Official's blessing, if you get it. "Why don't we leave then?" he asked. For a moment, Lobinghe couldn't manage to react. "Leave?" Shen Qingque nodded. "Didn't you say that you weren't welcome here? Then let's leave and go somewhere that does welcome you," he added. "This time, no matter where you wish to go, this master will accompany you." Lobinghe's face had always appeared very quick and clever, but now his expression was thoroughly dumbfounded because of those few words. It was hard to look at. Other than Tangchong Mountain's disciples, Chongding Peak was also packed with cultivators from various sects who'd come to attend the celebration. On top of their senses being sharp, Shen Qingque had also deliberately refused to lower his voice, so of course everyone had heard him very clearly. As one, they all feigned ignorance. The ones who'd been watching the fireworks pointed and gestured at the sky, and the ones who'd been lightly chuckling now laughed loud enough to raise the roof. They were being very cooperative, showing consideration for Tangchong Mountain's dignity. But Liu Qingge didn't appreciate this. He jumped down from the eaves and yelled at Chen Qingche, practically incoherent with rage. Hey! Okay, before we go into whatever he's about to say, I just realized I missed showing you guys an illustration here. So let me quickly show you that, and then I'll show you the one that we just got. So this is at the point where Luo Binghe is telling Shen Qingche that there's no point in him living healthily and well if Shen Qingche isn't with him. And that, like, this is just stunning. Like, very sad, but stunning nonetheless. Okay, and then, sorry, here's the one that we just got that I think is as close to a confession as we'll ever get from Shen Qingche. But honestly, I don't know where we go from here if, like, this is already feeling like the end. She was beside herself with anger. I don't care anymore. Go wherever you like. Shen Qingche, you, both of you. Minyan, let's go. What are you looking at? What's there to see? Is this your first time bearing witness to such shamelessness? Hold on. Did I miss something? Okay. Shimei, careful of the karma in your words. Mind the image of our respected Sangchong Mountain. Exactly what deep-set images did Sangchong Mountain have in the people's hearts outside of covering for the faults of their own? Their director of demolitions, their intimacy with demons, and their master-disciple pair, who'd starred in a famous porno. Wow. Shen Qingche considered this for a while and came up empty. Initially, he'd been pulling Luo Binghe along by the hand. Who knew when it had become Luo Binghe pulling him along instead? He felt those 5 fingers on the back of his hand slowly tightening, clamping down until it hurt. Luo Binghe gently raised his head, and the entire night sky with its river of stars sparkled within the depths of his pitch-black eyes. It was almost like, if he wasn't careful, some glittering treasures would fall from them. Shen Qingche took all this in stride. Looking back on everything, his heart had transformed, becoming like that of an old monk on a pilgrimage to retrieve scriptures. He'd suffered through 81 hardships, and after much pain and struggle, finally produced the right result. To let him cry. So let him cry, sorry. After all, Luo Binghe always behaved this way. A plot with so many ups and downs and such intense chaos and disorder, to the point that it was constantly like being struck by lightning on a clear day. Honestly, Shen Qingche also wanted to burst into tears. And with the peerless, bizarre book's complete and successful transformation, Great Master Airplane shooting towards the skies career was now doubtlessly devoid of regrets, while the unparalleled ranting critic's peerless cucumber could no longer say he disdained it in the way he once had either. The author wouldn't fill in the plot holes, so the Great One had been forced to take matters into his own hands. In the long river of history of great and mighty Zhongdian style novels, what reader had led the charge like him? Partly coughing up blood while putting himself on the line to fill the plot holes. just to rescue the weak points of a brainless power fantasy, a peerless marvel of a work that had the writing quality of a grade school essay. Even though the direction had gone a bit awry during said rescue process, at least he'd really managed to achieve "You can you up, no one can no BB." I have no idea what that is. The moment Shen Chuche had flipped open Proud Immortal Demon Way, the story had begun. But as he shut Proud Immortal Demon Way, the story had yet to end. Or perhaps the story circulating through the world might already have ended. But the story between you and me has only just begun. Okay. Damn. So we're done with the actual novel, so we only have the extras to go, I suppose. But I have to say, like, I'm a little bit thrown off by this bit with Liu Chunge, Qi Jingqi, and Mingyan intervening, because I'm like, there wasn't really a resolution to that bit, but maybe there will be in the extras. It just felt a bit weird, like I feel like that could have been left out. Okay, let's see. It kind of is. Everything else is epilogue or extras. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil earlier, but this is the end. Volume 4 is all extras. I forgot volume 4 were just extras, but I think they were important. In the original versions, chapters are divided differently, and the final chapter of Scum Villian is called The Story Begins. You Can You Up is mentioned by the system in volume 1 as he enters the world. It means do it yourself if you can, and don't complain if you can't. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Okay, so we just finished the actual novel that is Scum Villian Self-Saving System. We only have, as you guys mentioned, the epilogue and the extras left. I hope you guys are interested in reading the epilogue and the extras, because I definitely do want to do that as a read along as well. I don't just want to stop here, even though it's technically the end of the novel. I'm just like, I'm feeling a little bit unprepared for this, if I'm being honest, because it like I wasn't ready for it to be the end, So I thought there was gonna be so much more before we got to the end, and the fact that we are now technically at the end just feels like I'm left hanging a little bit. Okay, wow. That feels a little bit surreal, like we're done. Damn. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, it was so much fun to be able to just do this with you guys and be able to hear your guys' thoughts and not be alone throughout all of the speculation and trauma, because there was definitely a little bit of trauma. I can't believe the only sex scene we got and this was DubCon. I'm hoping, well, I don't know if I'm really hoping for that, but like, for other fans' sake, I'm hoping that there's at least like a nice and sweeter scene in the extras, because that was a little bit grim, and it kind of shocked me. Yeah, no, so yeah, again, as I mentioned, I'm gonna be putting up a poll, and then you guys can decide which novel we tackle first next. But I'm thinking we'll finish Scum Villian Volume 4 before we go back to any of the Urhas. Urhas, I see as if I have multiple Urhas. We only have the one volume at the moment. But anyway, okay. I think we're gonna end the stream here unless you guys have any questions for me that I can quickly answer for you. But otherwise, I think we're more or less done. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys are up for it. Okay, cool. Then fan translation didn't get all the extras. I'm assuming all the extras are in this though. I'm hoping. Hmm. Okay. But yeah, okay, so I think I'm gonna end it here. I've said okay so many times, I'm sorry. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I really appreciated it. And I will put up the poll for you guys, and then otherwise I will see you again on Thursday for whatever we're gonna be reading. Tuesday for whatever we're gonna be reading then. Bye!